This guy's kind of
Yeah.
Spider-Man. I think he
Yo,
is Spider-Man.
it's like pretty
yo.
good. Like, I love Andrew Garfield. When like 4 years ago, they're like, God, you remember when they came out with the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies? Those sucked. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Trevor Talks Too Much, the show where I talk to some cool people, some cool guests, and I talk a little bit and I try and make a couple of friends and, see how the conversation flows and where it goes. I'm your host, Trevor Everett. I'm a master baker, mythical soft boy, and certified wide boy today. There's something about my sweater that makes me seem very wide. I don't know what it is, but it's a nice sweater and I like it. Today, I spoke with Julian Bass, who is an amazing visual effects editor. You probably have seen a TikTok or two from him. He does some really, really cool stuff. And we talked about all sorts of things. We had a great convo. We talked about Ragtime, one of my favorite and one of his favorite musicals. Great musical. We talked about who the best Spider-Man is. Pretty heated debate. And we also talked about the Transformers movies and how underrated they are and how they need to make a comeback and how freaking hot Josh Duhamel is. Okay, now Josh Duhamel is in a movie. He's in a few movies. Josh Duhamel is in a movie that I watched that is probably one of the worst movies I've ever seen, and it is called The Buddy Games. Have you ever heard of this movie, Jamie?
I have not.
Okay, it's terrible.
Oh man.
It's kind of like, you remember that movie Tag, where it's about the four friends that have had the same game of tag?
Yeah.
It's kind of in that vein, but like really bad. It was about, it's about this group of friends that when they were younger, they did this thing called the Buddy Games. I've only seen it once. And I don't even know. It was so bad. And the reason that I watched it was because it has James Roday Rodriguez, who is the star of a very popular television show that I love very much called Psych. Psych, the show about, James Roday. He plays a psychic detective. I love James Roday, and I remember I think I had just finished a rewatch of Psych, and I was like, I don't know if there's anything else that I've seen him in. I wonder if he does anything else, because I love him. I think he's a great actor. I think he's super funny. And I was like, oh, there's this movie called The Buddy Games, and it's got Josh Duhamel in it also. And it also has Olivia Munn, Jensen Ackles, Dax Shepard. So it's got like quite a few
Pretty solid cast,
yeah,
I'd
got
say.
a pretty solid cast. There's a couple other people in there. Anyway, I was like, but it had terrible reviews. I think it has it's 16% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh.
But I was like, I mean, come on. It's like, how bad could it be, right? And so I watched it, and let me tell you what, it deserved the 16% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, man.
It was a very bad movie, but I kind of want you to watch it because I don't think anyone's ever seen it. I think maybe like 4 people have, and I'm one of them. The other 3 obviously gave it a pretty poor score on Rotten Tomatoes. But it's like so bad. So all these friends, I guess they had like a falling out and they like reunited, but they just play these weird games, and Josh Duhamel plays this like super rich guy. And they like competed for like $150,000. Anyway, just a terrible movie. There was one of the games that they played was like they went to a bar, and they were competing to see who the first person could be to get someone's number, like phone number, or maybe like kiss someone. I can't remember. But then like one of the friends puts like laxatives in the other friend's drinks.
Oh no.
So then there's just this scene with all of them like their pants. It was just I don't know. It was a really bad movie, but
looking it up, I remember seeing the commercial or just seeing the poster.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm assuming this was like a movie from like 10 years ago, even though it was literally
it was like only a couple years ago.
2019.
It's
I'll give it a watch. I like a good bad movie.
It's really bad. Josh Duhamel's hot.
Yes.
It's distributed by WWE Studios.
What?
So
wrestling?
I don't know why, because normally if a movie's by WWE Studios, it's because there's like a professional wrestler in it.
It won 2 awards
For what?
in the Mammoth Film Festival, very prestigious, for achievement in filmmaking to Josh Duhamel, and best genre film.
What?
There was probably only 2 other films at the film festival.
It has 2 awards wins. Oh my God. Yeah, no, anyway, I was just thinking about how bad that movie was. Because we talked about Josh.
Yeah, because you guys talked about him.
I've watched a lot of movies though. I've seen worse movies. I think it's worth watching so that I have someone to relate to. If anybody out there, Jamie, if you want to watch it, if anybody out there, it's only like an hour and 30 minutes. That's all you have to suffer through. I'd love to be able to talk about it to someone.
Yeah, I think I'll definitely watch it. We can talk offline about it.
Yeah, we can offline about it.
And then we can get online with Julian.
That was such, oh my God, Jamie,
I know.
Come on. Leave the jokes to me.
I'm just gonna like shrink down underneath the table.
Oh God, no, that was good. I appreciate that. Let's get into the show. Julian, it's so nice to meet you. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, happy to be here.
I'm glad. I'm excited to talk to you. I've seen a lot of your videos. You've gone viral for some stuff before. But I'm just excited to talk about all of the things that you do because I think it's very cool and I would love to get your insight, your professional opinion on some things because I have a lot of opinions, but most of them are very unprofessional.
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot. I do so much.
Yeah.
So I think I'll be able to enlighten.
Yeah.
Is that the word?
That's the word.
Right?
And here's the thing. People need enlightening these days. I think there are a lot of people that need to be enlightened.
Well, monks, they're enlightened.
They are.
Quite literally. There it is. That's our cyclical path to greatness.
Yeah. I want to be enlightened to the point where I can become a monk. Yeah. I want to get to that point where I'm like, I think I could finally become a monk. I feel like I'm at that point,
Yeah.
I can't wait. Honestly, the more I talk about it, the more I just want to do it. I just want to move to Belgium, join a Trappiste. That beer is so good. Have you had like Belgian Trappiste beer?
I haven't. I don't even drink beer that much, really.
Well, you just wait till you see how the Belgians do it, man.
Yeah, I guess I'll turn.
Julian Bass, everyone. You do a lot of visual effects. You do a lot of special effects stuff, editing. But please introduce yourself to the people.
Yeah, I'm Julian Bass. Like you said, I'm a visual effects artist and just kind of an overall entertainer. I've done it all. I mean, I just did the show and I just realized I was like, you know what? I could really do everything here, but that's never fun.
No.
You gotta love working with people.
Yeah.
So, and it's also not logistical to make an entire TV show as a one-person thing. I don't know. Bo Burnham did it, right?
Yeah.
Didn't you make a thing?
Seemed like he went crazy though. Seemed like he went a little
Right.
nutso. Do you think that was like him playing it up a little bit for the special, or do you think he actually like went a little bit crazy?
I've spent enough time behind a computer, away from people, to be like, you know what? Maybe I do need to just see a human. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And so I went to the store, and it was just people shopping. Just hearing people talking and making sounds was way too shocking for me. I was like, I need to get outside. This is not supposed to feel weird. Yeah, that was just strange.
Yeah.
But I guess because of how much time I spend doing visual effects, I guess I am a visual effects artist first and foremost.
Yeah. Well, that's super cool. I love watching visual effects. I think most people do. I have a deep appreciation for it. I know nothing about it though. But so was there anything like a show or a cartoon or a movie like in your childhood that you could like specifically point to as something that inspired you to get into visual effects?
I think it was YouTubers.
Yeah.
It was Corridor Digital and Freddie Wong and all like those sort of that group of YouTubers that really made me want to do it.
Yeah.
I think at the time, I started this when I was like 10, 11 years old.
Yeah.
And I used to do. I remember before the visual effects part came into it, I used to do like Lego stop motion videos.
Yeah.
But I was so young, I didn't have any clue how to turn the pictures into a video. So I would take the camera and I would scroll through. It had one of those little like rolly scroll things. I would scroll through it and do all the voices like right then and there when I wanted to show my parents or whatever. And that was the extent of it. That was all of it. They were like, "You made this?" I was like, "Yeah, I wish I could save it and put it somewhere." But gosh, I wish I still had those. But it was really watching YouTubers and thinking, wow, that's tangible. You know, like seeing a movie. You know, if I go to see Spider-Man, I'm not like, that's movie, that's Hollywood stuff.
Yeah.
That's that's out of my reach. Yeah. I can't do that. And then I saw people who were just posting it online, doing it, and I was like, wait a minute, maybe I can. And you know, as time goes on, these resources have become more and more available to an extent now where it's like, I thought I was the only kid who was into this stuff at my age, when it really was a resource thing. You know, not everybody had just a computer that could handle that.
Yeah.
Or even the programs themselves. So and I got a chance to meet Ren, who was like one of the first After Effects tutorials I'd ever watched. Yeah. And I got to meet him and interview him on my show, and that was like so surreal. He's way taller than I thought.
Isn't that weird when you meet someone who you've only seen online and you never even thought about how tall they would be? It never even crossed your mind, and then you meet them and you're like, oh, you're like way taller or way shorter than I thought. Like, I don't know. I always talk about tall energy. Because I'm a tall person, but I don't feel like I give off tall energy. Like some people have tall energy.
I don't know. I think you look kind of tall to me. I mean, if I had to guess, I would probably guess that you would be tall. I'm 5'8".
Okay.
I mean, I'm middle of the road. So
how tall do you think I am then?
You know what's so funny? Yeah. This would have definitely been one of those like, oh yeah, cut that out. I almost said you look like you're 5'12". You're between 5'12" and 6 foot, I think. You know.
Is that your official guess then? 6 foot?
I would think, that's my guess.
Okay, I'm 6'4". Yeah, I'm lanky. I'm like lanky though, and I don't feel like I give off tall energy because I stand next to other people that are right around the same height as me, but they give off tall energy, and I always assume that they're taller than me. But then I stand next to them, I'm like, oh, we're like the same height. I don't know. Maybe it's just like a mental thing for me. Because I remember I grew late. And so I always like, in my head, people that were older than me were always taller than me because I kind of grew late. And then once I got tall, in my head, those people stayed tall. Have you ever done that? Like someone that you knew when you were younger that was older than you and they were taller than you. And then you grew and you're like, oh, this person's not that tall. But I don't know why. In my head, they were always just really tall.
I got the reverse of that. I definitely I grew pretty fast, and then like stopped growing in middle school. But I remember there was this one kid who was like, he was the short kid, and I remember like he was not only like short, but he was like kind of angry too. You know, like he was like the stereotype of like what do you think a short guy would be? Yeah, and he had like a high pitched voice and everything, like all of it together. And come high school, like I hadn't seen him in maybe a year or two, and I was like, "What?" I was looking up. He was taller than me. I was like, "What happened? What did you eat?" Like, I want to know. Yeah. And then, slowly but surely, everybody else started to kind of get up, and I was like, "Well, I guess I'll just do movies." I can fake it till I make it there, and they love it.
Oh my gosh! Was he still angry though?
He was very mild mannered. Wow. I think, yeah.
So it was the height.
Maybe it was. Maybe he was just too close to hell, I guess. He got out of range.
He got out of range. He got enough separation. Yeah. Whatever his like lowest like chakra gate, it like finally got high enough off the ground.
Yeah, and he was super cool. I mean, it was, it was crazy.
So you love Ben 10.
Ooh, Oh yeah, I love it. I love all animated things.
Yeah.
I love cartoons.
I love cartoons
I was-
too, but I want to bring that up because I recently started watching Ben 10 again because it's on Hulu. And I started rewatching it because I was like, I haven't seen Ben 10 in forever. And I used to love this show as a kid, and it really holds up.
I miss narrative Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the shows that I watch a lot now is Apple and Onion.
Apple and Onion?
Which is, I think, it's one of the best shows ever.
Really?
I thought this show was for adults. And then I saw the rating, and I was like, wait, this is a kid's show? It was just, the jokes in it were like funny enough, were like, highbrow enough for me to be like, this seems like an Adult Swim kind of show.
Yeah.
But I guess it's British humor. I don't know. But like, I loved Ben 10 because I love the narratives. I watched the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. I loved how like linear things were. Yeah. You got to know these characters in a way that was like more so based off of an arc. Yeah. Rather than hey, this character learned something new this episode.
Yeah. And even just like see the character development over time. That's what I was noticing watching it. Like there really is a lot of like you said, a lot of linear progression of like he's, understanding his powers more. Oh my God.
Yeah, sorry. She was starting to bite a thing that she wasn't supposed to bite.
No, that's okay. For those of you that aren't watching and are only listening, there is a dog on the screen now, and I got distracted.
Sorry. Hey, Jen, I'm gonna need you to cool it over here. Okay. There she goes. All right. But yeah, Ben 10.
It really holds up because sometimes I watch shows from like my childhood, and I'm like, wow, I understand why I enjoyed this as a kid, but like it's not really that great anymore.
Did you ever like watch Hot Wheels? They came out with these like TV movies.
No.
They came out with one called like Hot Wheels: The World Race, and then like 3 sequels called Acceleracers.
No.
I rewatched it, and that is some of the greatest character work I've ever seen in a children's thing ever.
Really?
It's like some really heavy stuff.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it blew me away too how consistent they were and how much time they took with these like interpersonal connections.
Yeah,
and that's definitely one of those things that I stopped myself and I wrote down, and I was like, all right, if I ever have to make a live action adaptation of an old IP that not enough people have seen, Acceleracers. That's the one.
Who would have thought Hot Wheels? Coming in with the great filmmaking.
I just didn't think that they would spend that much time on something that could have just been racing, and that's it.
Yeah.
But there's like lore and everything. I'm like, geez, okay.
That's awesome.
Aliens that created cars and stuff. Oh
I want to watch the Hot Wheels movie now. I want to watch it. As a VFX, visual effects, what I would call an expert, what do you think in recent memory, in recent years, has been one of the best like visual effects in movie or show? Like what was one of those movies or shows that really just blew you away?
Wow. I feel like I get blown away by a lot of visual effects.
Yeah.
I think Dune, didn't they just win the Oscar for VFX? Dune was great.
So.
It was great for a plethora of reasons. The movie, I thought I kind of dragged a little bit for me. I'm not gonna lie. I thought the movie was. I guess I didn't read the books or see the original, so I wasn't really too enamored. But visually, I think it's amazing to me what they are able to accomplish with visual effects, and it's amazing to me how many people will miss that and be like, wow, look at all the practical things and how much VFX they didn't use. It's like you're just not noticing the VFX,
Yeah.
Gosh, I keep shouting out Corridor. They need to just pay me now. But they did a video. They do like these VFX artist react videos. I watch these every week, and they were talking Dune, and it was crazy because like they didn't use green screens the whole time, and I was like, "What do you mean they didn't use green screens?" They used sand-colored screens so that the light. So you get spill when you're doing green screen stuff. So you like get like reflections of green, and it's a part of the compositor's job to get rid of the spill. And they were like, how about we just don't do that? How about we make the, roto work 1,000 times harder by putting sand-colored people on the sand-colored background? But we get good lighting. So, it was such a crazy trade-off. And when I saw it, when I saw like the behind-the-scenes images, I was like, there's no way that I would be a visual effects artist and I'd be in my editing bay and they'd give me a shot and they'd be like, all right, key this out. And it's just a gray screen and everything matches. I would be so furious. There'll be times when, I'm watching something, especially like animated shows, right? Do you watch Attack on Titan?
Yes.
You ever just sit there and like, oh wow, these characters are just talking a lot, and that just definitely means in the next few minutes I'm about to get a huge action sequence because they're saving that animation budget. I feel like that's like when I'm watching certain things, I'm just like, they are really setting us up for something that's just going to look really cool, and I feel like they thought about the cool thing and then built backwards from it.
No, dude, I totally get you. Attack on Titan, it's funny because I probably like noticed it subliminally and then like realized it when you said something, but it really is. You have these like long shots of like still characters talking in place, with these big monologues and stuff, and it always leads into a crazy fight. And just like some of the most beautiful animation, some of the cool, like Attack on Titan fight scenes are so freaking cool. I mean, just like with the ODM gear and them flying around, like I don't know, it's amazing. I love that show.
It really makes me think that it reminded me so much, especially once they started getting like the grapple guns and just started like going from their hands. I was like, man, they could really just be doing this in like a Spider-Man way, I feel like that. I feel like seeing a scene in that like style, like a cool like one shot, Spider-Man swinging and throwing a punch and doing all this, craziness. I feel like that would just be the coolest thing. But it's just so much effort. I can't believe these people have this kind of time.
Speaking of Spider-Man, do you have like a pretty hard favorite of the three? It's a highly debated topic. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
I've heard a lot of people say this, and I agree with it. But I think like Andrew Garfield is the best actor of the three. And I love Tobey Maguire's movies. I feel like they are a lot more comic booky than Tom's and definitely Andrew's. I think but it comes down to like Sam Raimi though, I think it's because of the way he directed it. And I remember just rewatching, I think Spider-Man 2 and stuff. And like when they would like spin the newspaper and it would like slam down and you'd see the headline. It's like Spider-Man's on this. And like all these cool, like fun transitions and like sequences. It's just the Tom's are Marvel formula. Yeah. Andrews felt like they tried to distance themselves from the comic book and like were in the midst of the Dark Knight era of trying to, like, oh yeah, the suit's going to be realistic. He's going to pop the lenses out of some glasses. It's like, that suit was kind of ugly. Then the next movie, they were like, we're going to go full comic book mode with the suit. And that's like one of the best suits. But very different tones from the first Amazing Spider-Man 1 and Amazing Spider-Man 2. You could tell they were like, maybe Spider-Man shouldn't be so serious. Maybe the quippy, fun superhero should be quippy and fun. Yeah.
I definitely, I would agree with that. I love Andrew Garfield. I think he's a phenomenal actor. And I think it was just, the movies just kind of did him dirty a little bit. But I love him. I think you're spot on with Toby. Like, I think that those movies are just great. And Tom Holland is like super Marvel. I mean, even from the first movie, you already had Iron Man in it. Like, to me, the Tom Holland ones didn't feel like Spider-Man movies because there was this, they came in well after the MCU was very, very developed. And so it felt like this isn't a Spider-Man movie. This is like a this is what's happening, and then, here's the Avengers on the side, like
Yeah.
this is what's happening while the Avengers are like on a break or Tom Holland isn't with the Avengers. And so, I don't know, that always felt like a weird vibe to me. I love No Way Home. I thought, however campy and fan service it was, I thought it was so much fun. It was so much fun.
Loved it. I got to see it in IMAX
so good.
on opening night.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't even crazy like that. The IMAX, it's an IMAX experience. It was just that like in an IMAX theater, you can get the maximum amount of people.
Yeah.
And just when stuff happened, oh my goodness, everybody was losing it.
It was such a fun movie watching experience because I saw it on IMAX too opening night, and it was just like, it was so much fun. Everybody was cheering. Like everybody was going nuts. And it just fed into that energy more and more of like, oh my God, this is just like one of the most fun movie experiences ever. I don't know. I would hope now that they've, opened up the multiverse that, Andrew and Toby might make their triumphant returns at some point. Even if it's just for more cameo stuff, that would make me happy because I love Andrew Garfield. But yeah, I think every Spider-Man movie has like, something about it that makes it lovable. I'm glad to see Andrew getting his redemption because for a long time, people really hated those movies. Like for a long time, everyone was like, those are the worst movies. Those sucked. And like, yeah, I get why you say that, but I don't know. It seemed like after there was a lot less Andrew Garfield hate after No Way Home.
After No Way Home. Yeah, everybody was like, yo, wait a minute. This guy's kind of Spider-Man. I think he is Spider-Man.
It's like pretty good. Like I love Andrew Garfield. When like 4 years ago, they're like, God, you remember when they came out with the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies? Those sucked. Yeah, all those people are cowering in the shadows now. But Spider-Man is your favorite superhero, I assume?
Spider-Man? Wait a minute before I speak out of turn.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Spider-Man is my favorite superhero.
I think it's a good opinion. I've always loved Spider-Man ever since I was a kid. It's nice when like growing up with those movies, like it's a lot easier to like, because you didn't get a ton of, I feel like by the time I was older, that's when more superhero movies were starting to come out. That's when it got like really popular. But like there was always Spider-Man movies and shows when I was growing up. It was always around. But what's your favorite? Okay, here's a question. I might already know the answer. What's your favorite like kind of quasi superhero movie? Like I'm talking or superhero like franchise where it's not really superheroes, but like I don't know, like Transformers, Ben 10 would probably be in that category. I'm trying to think of other ones. Okay. Yeah.
Oh man, that's a hard question. Gosh. Attack on Titan's my favorite show. My favorite superhero movie is The Suicide Squad.
Which one?
I think the second one.
The one that just recently, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah,
that was fun. That was a fun movie.
That could be one of my favorite movies like ever.
Yeah.
Funny story. Yeah. So ever since 2020, when I had the whole viral video thing and got a chance to do the things that I like. My agents were like, "Oh, so what are some shows and stuff that you have and ideas, And so I had this slate, and one of those ideas on this slate was called the Monster Squad, and it was about this fire team that goes and takes out these monsters. They fight monsters basically. But it's supposed to be sort of a play on the expendable group of people in a lot of these movies that is just like there just so the monster could just destroy them. And then Chris Pratt comes and saves the day or something. And I wrote this thing and, I wrote the whole story out. The way it starts is like with this documentary film crew. They're like, meet the fire team and meet the Monster Squad. And the document, they get like a monster alert, right? And they go and they're like, all right, they bring the film crew with them, and the whole film crew gets massacred. And these guys are like, why did we bring a film crew, with us? This was a horrible idea. And so this whole movie begins with this total bloodbath. And I'm watching the Suicide Squad, right? And I'm like, wow, this movie begins with just such a total bloodbath. Yeah. And then I started paying attention to certain characters. So I was like, yeah, Peacemaker, he's the Boy Scout who turns on the team. And, you have this giant monster threat they're fighting. And it turns out that it was the U.S. government the whole time. And I was like, wait a minute. I wrote this. They find out the monsters are being created by the U.S. government and all this stuff. And there's the Boy Scout who turns the whole group in. And I was like, oh, man. And then I realized, I was like, that's why I like this so much. Yeah. It wasn't like, it's definitely not like the stories in Hollywood you hear, oh, they stole my idea. I wrote that. I couldn't care less. I could throw that thing in the trash. Yeah. This movie was so good.
I'm a big, one of my guilty pleasure movies, because I know it's just they're not good movies, but I still love them, is the Transformers movies. That's probably why I brought it up, because I've always loved Transformers.
I love the Transformers movies.
I do too. They slowly get worse and worse, I think. The first one I will defend as a phenomenal movie. I will defend the first one. And then once you keep going on and on, it's like, okay, I can understand why you think these aren't good. But the first one, I think, deserves more credit. I don't know. I would love to see someone like James Gunn or even like Zack Snyder maybe, or someone with kind of that directive mind for really cool action sequences and character development to do a Transformers movie. Because I actually really enjoyed the Bumblebee movie. But I don't know. I just want to see it brought back to life a little bit. I think that we got too many bad Transformers movies and people are scared to make them now, maybe is what it is. Or it's we just need some time. But I don't know. The idea of giant alien robots coming to Earth and turning into cars. I don't know. I love it.
Yeah.
Or any machinery.
Oh yeah. I think the Transformers movies, even on the topic of VFX, are so good. Yeah. I just remember it being so complicated. When Optimus Prime first transforms in the first movie, it was it was phenomenal. Even when he was who was he fighting? Bone Crusher on the freeway, and he stops the car and it drifts, and then he transforms out of it. I was like, oh man, that's so amazing.
It's so cool.
But then you get to I think maybe it was the fourth one. I think this was Mark Wahlberg's first one.
Yeah.
And you have this Transformer who just turns into these little cubes and reanimates in a different area. And I was like, that's not whimsical. That's just teleportation. That's just a particle simulation. What is that?
No, I remember in the first one, there was that scene. I think it was Optimus Prime when he first crash lands. I think, is he the one that lands in the swimming pool? And
that's I think that was either Jazz or
was that Jazz?
I think so.
Maybe it was maybe it was Ironhide.
I think it could have been Ironhide actually. Yeah.
It might have been Ironhide. That's right, because Optimus lands near the freeway, and that's how he gets the semi. Right. I think it might have been Ironhide. Anyway, when he stands up out of the swimming pool, I don't know. It's just such a cool scene to me because you can see him he stands up and all of this water is just dripping off of him, and it just it looks so cool. And there's this just little girl standing there. I don't know. It's just and you have the skyline behind it. It's such a great scene to me. I love that scene. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Transformers movies.
Yeah. I think you're right though. They need a style. I think they need to not only switch up the style, but a Snyder or somebody with a very different Bumblebee was great, but it felt like it still kind of could have been made by Michael Bay,
Yeah, and it was a little bit more campy, and I get it because it was about just Bumblebee. It wasn't about, the Autobots versus the Decepticons. It was more of a story about Haley Steinfeld and her car, which is great. I thought it was fun. I thought it was a fun movie. But yeah, I would love to see just a very action-packed but well-made, well-written Transformers movie. I love Shia LaBeouf, but he doesn't need to be in it. I think he's done his time as a Transformers character. They could bring back Josh Duhamel, and I would not be mad. He's a beautiful man. And I tell you what, in that movie, when he slides on the motorcycle down the street, when he throws the bike down and then somehow slides for another 30 feet on pavement.
With the grenade launcher.
With the grenade launcher. It's that's not how that works, but it's still so great.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Man.
That's another thing that I loved about the Transformers and sort of what I think is a great connection to the whole Monster Squad thing, and like what I tried to bake into that was that the whole idea of, you know, these just military dudes facing something that they just are not prepared for. They're like, yeah, we didn't sign up for this. Like, you know, we got aliens. Like, I've seen, you know, they unexplainable, just screaming into a radio.
Just Tyrese just on the machine gun shouting left cheek, left cheek, left cheek,
left cheek, left cheek.
It's so great.
I loved that. Oh my goodness, I love the Transformers movies.
Yeah. No, I love them too. I'm glad you agree. I felt a little sheepish coming out with that hot take of an opinion.
I think I mean, they were big. They made so many because I think enough people love the first one. Sort of the second. I think the third one was actually the last good one for me.
You mentioned musical theater. You're a big musical guy?
I was in musicals.
Yeah.
And I enjoy them. But I wasn't really like, I didn't come into it as like a theater kid. I wasn't like doing it in middle school, or it was interesting. When I started doing musical, I did it in high school. I started as a junior, and I was about to hit the varsity football team, and I was like, I'm going to quit and do this other thing because I'm not big enough for this. So, I Troy Bolton's my way into musical theater, and it went really well for me. I guess finding guys who can sing in high school were very few and far between. So I'm not gonna lie, I had it pretty easy going through musical theater. I played Donkey in Shrek the Musical, which everybody just kind of looked at me, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll be Donkey, whatever. You know?
Oh no, man!
And like it was like in the class. I went to this like predominantly white school. Yeah. And in the class, there were like two other black students. Yeah. One of them was just not Donkey. I was just like, I know. I don't even need to audition for the role. You guys could just give it to me already.
You're just like, I'll do it. Whatever, I'll do it.
You know, there was nobody else who really had that. But the next show I was in was Ragtime, which I think is the best musical ever made. And
I love Ragtime.
Yeah,
I think it is one of the greatest musicals ever. Honestly, like so amazing for at the time that it was made.
Super underrated. And I think it is in like the public eye as much as it should be.
I agree.
Because I hadn't heard about it until I was in it. I played Cole House in it.
Oh, you played Cole House?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. It's weird to go from Donkey to Cole House, huh? Yeah,
it's a bit of a different character.
Yeah, a little bit. But yeah. I think that was just a great way, though, to showcase range and stuff, and you know, to really flex the acting. To be like, oh, okay, you know, this is something that I am not, you know, I'm not messing around with. You know, like I could actually, you know, pull this off. Yeah. And it was so different, so starkly different. But I love Ragtime, and I want to make a movie. I want to make a movie musical version because I know there's a movie, but I think it's just like it's just based off the book.
It's just based off the book. Yeah, I think that's one of the musicals that I like. Wonder why they haven't made a musical movie about it yet. I think it's like perfect for it. I mean, especially like with everything that's been going on like the past few years, it highlights so many relevant issues that are like more relevant now more than ever. And I don't know why they haven't. I know. I mean, I think
it's missing a couple of things. And I've spent so much time with the show because I've been trying to like work a rewrite. Yeah. I think I found out the reason why it's not being like actively revamped, you know? Yeah. And I think it's a couple of things. It's I mean, a lot of people don't like the white savior thing. Yeah. And the mother in that show definitely becomes that a bit. Yeah. But you know, that's not something that like that's not the biggest thing I think people are afraid of. I think people are afraid of Cole House and the fact that he takes over the JP Morgan library and rigs it to explode. and
Yeah.
shows and creates a provisional government and really shows much more resolve in ways of a revolution than you get to see Black characters do a lot in media. And I think that like he took it the furthest that I think I've seen, and had to be talked out of it, like would have gone all the way.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good moment it's a good teaching moment, because I think a lot of times, you know, in our history books, right, we get like the polarized Martin and Malcolm.
Yeah.
And I feel like those two weren't so different at the time.
No.
You know, I feel like at the time they were definitely hand in hand, but our history has been made to be like, well, this is non-violence and this is the way to go and this is violence. And it's like, how do you they try to make it seem unjustified in that, oh, Martin was able to accomplish the same things without violence. But I think that's a wrong take. Yeah. Because, you know, if this is a really hot take right now. This is going to be like the hottest take I've ever taken.
All right.
Do you, I'll ask it as a question. Do you think Martin Luther King, do you think the job was finished before Martin Luther King died?
No.
Not at all.
Not
at all. If that's the case, then, you know, how much did he really accomplish as himself? Or is it a part of U.S. history to try to make him a figurehead that kind of makes it seem like a lot happened, a lot got done?
Yeah, I think that's probably it. I think that there is definitely, I think everybody's well aware and knows that there are large parts of American history that are whitewashed, that are skirted around, that paint, you know, the country in a good light. And I think that's definitely one of them. I mean, that's the reason he died, was because he was on his way to that change. And I think that he laid a lot of building blocks for that. But I think that the way it is portrayed in you know, U.S. education, I think it's changing as, you know, as we progress. But I definitely think, I mean, when I was learning about it, it seemed like, yeah, he did it. Great work, Martin Luther King Jr.
Right. Yeah,
great
exactly.
Great civil rights hero. And it's like, no, he was on his way to doing that. He was on his way to that meaningful change, and that's why he died. And he died for it. And there's still a lot to be done. And I think that Ragtime for me is because it's a very radical thing, you know, that Cole House does. But I don't. It's like a metaphor. It's figurative for, like, sometimes that's, you know, if that's the motivation, I guess, and the passion that we need to have. That's what we need to, I don't know, how do I put this? That's how we need to think about what we need to do to reach the goals that we want. You know, if we have a passivity or we have a kind of laxness, which I think is what a lot of people do have, where it's like they're not really willing to do anything to achieve change, then nothing's ever going to happen. And I think that you have to have those radical things. Should Cole House, you know, blow up the library or whatever? And probably not. Yeah. No, I'm going to say no. But he has the passion, you know, he has that desire and that passion for change. And so I agree with I agree with your points that there are things in the musical that would make it maybe not something that people would want to adapt to screen. But I think that there are things you can skirt around. I mean, it's easy to write out that kind of white savior attitude. I think that's an easy thing to work around. And I don't know, there's ways that you can work around the whole Cole House thing. But I love it. I think it's a phenomenal musical, and I think that it teaches a lot of really great lessons. Yeah.
Yeah. And the music is like...
Make Them Hear You is one of my favorite songs from a musical ever.
I'm not going to lie. I killed it.
You killed it?
I killed it night after night.
That song gives me freaking chills every time I listen to it. I don't know, there's something about it.
I remember the first time we actually got to take this show out to Columbus, Georgia, and do it at ThesCon, which is like a thespian convention. And we performed it at this Springer Opera House and we sold it out like for back-to-back shows, and they cut Make Them Hear You show because they had to do it in like a one act. And I was just, everybody in there was like all the theater people. So they cheered for anything. They cheered for everything that happened. Like no matter, like you could step on stage and they'd be like, "Woo, yeah." And yeah, Make Them Hear You definitely made me cry. The last few performances I did with it, because I mean that last note too is a beast.
Yeah, that's like one of my favorite musical songs. Like, I love singing that song when I'm like driving in my car alone. That's one of my favorite songs to sing, and it is. Oh God, it's just so great. I wish I could sing it right now, but we can't sing on the show. Sadly, copyright issues.
Sorry.
Lame.
Sorry, y'all.
No, it's okay. We can sing later. Well, we're running out of time here. Even though I wish we could continue this conversation for hours and hours.
Forever.
Maybe we talk again sometime soon, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Freaking.
I love doing these. I mean, I am so happy to just be doing things.
Yeah.
So,
dude,
you know, I'm always down to talk.
100%. Totally get that. That's awesome. Feel free, plug yourself to the people out there. Where can they find you? What are you up to?
Yeah. I'm the Julian Bass everywhere. I know we talked a bit about the show that I just had come out. So it's called Behind the Screens. It's on my Instagram as well. The Julian Bass. So yeah, go check all that stuff out. That's really the latest and greatest. And I'm still rolling out some cool like behind the scenes of behind the screens stuff for you guys. So
awesome.
Yeah, there's just so much. I talked about Ren here too. So yeah, you get to see I meet Ren on that show. We talk VFX.
Nice.
Talk about how movies are made.
Awesome. Everyone go check out Julian Bass. He's great. Super talented. Thank you so much for coming on the show, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me.
Everybody, that was Julian Bass. Please go check out all of his socials at the Julian Bass. He's super talented. He's doing some very cool stuff all over TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and doing, making TV shows, making movies. He's super talented, super great. Please go check out his stuff. Jamie, what are your thoughts on how that conversation went?
I liked it. One, I'm glad that you had someone that is probably just as big, if not a bigger movie buff than yourself.
Oh, yeah. I felt like an idiot.
He was like, yeah, I knew all these things. He was saying names. I was like, yeah, this is because, he probably does pay attention more to who the actual editors and visual effects people are. Whereas like, I don't know any of those people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, he's very knowledgeable. He definitely seemed like he wasn't one of those people that like does this and then like he knows everything about it. Like he knows a lot. He's very knowledgeable. It was a lot of fun to talk to him. There were moments where I was like, wow, I like to think of myself as like, I watch a lot of movies. I know a little bit, but he's a real deal and I am a fake. I'm a fraud. I am a fraud.
No, but the only thing, stupid copyright, I wish that you guys could just break out into song. I totally could have seen you guys like doing a duet.
Oh my God. I wanted to sing so many times during that conversation. I just wanted to sing so many times. There's like a look, I think, on my face that happens when I want to sing. And I'm sure everyone that watches the video version comes out the following Monday after the audio version. That you'll see. There's like a look on my face when I'm like, I want to sing. But no, I had a great time. He's a very cool guy.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a lot of fun talking to him. It flew by.
Really, though. I was like, Trevor, it's time.
You didn't say that.
I know. I thought it in my head.
I kept track of myself pretty well there. I didn't let it get too out of hand, Jamie.
You did a great job.
Thank you. That's all I ask for is a little appreciation around you. I'm kidding. Jamie is very complimentary, probably more than she should be. I need more feedback on how I can be better. Every episode is like you saying something to me and then relaying to the audience. You're like, no, I'm just kidding. This is fine. Yeah, well, I don't want them to think that we have some sort of toxic relationship where I'm an a-hole to you. I think they can tell that it's not that. You underestimate the internet. On the internet. That's true. And their ability to take things out of context. Like, what if I just said right now, I was like, but someone could freaking be like, wow, that wasn't cool.
Butts what? What about the butts?
I don't want to talk about butts right now. This is what I'm talking about. People are going to take this out of context. People are going to be like, Trevor hates butts? What's wrong with Trevor? Why doesn't he like butts? What does he have against butts? Anyway, everybody, I have something really cool to tell you about now that little fiasco's over. It's something that Rhett and Link are doing. You're probably familiar with them. My bosses, the hosts of Good Mythical Morning, a couple of very talented and well-groomed men. That wasn't like supposed to be weird. They have like nice hair is what I was trying to say. Anyway, they have a brand new TV show. It is called Inside Eats. It is a television show that is airing on Discovery Plus. It's really cool. Basically, what they're doing is they're traveling around, going to like the source of a lot of people's favorite foods. They're seeing how it's made. They are trying it themselves, and then they're like trying to make it themselves. So, for example, like making Chipotle guacamole or like decorating cheesecakes at the Cheesecake Factory. It's really cool. It's a really cool concept. You know Rhett and Link. You know they love food. You know they're funny guys. It's a great show. Please check it out. Episodes are airing every Sunday, I believe, on Discovery Plus. So please go check that out. It's going to be great. And as always, thank you for listening to Trevor Talks Too Much. Listen every Tuesday wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that fun stuff. Video versions out the following Monday. You know the drill. And please leave a review, leave a comment, leave a whatever. Tell me how I can be better. Because Jamie sure doesn't. She's too nice to me. Please, rip me apart. But not too bad. I'm sensitive. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. The link's down below, @Trevor Everts. And then also go check out all of our other Mythical stuff. We got GMM. We got Mythical Kitchen. We're all over TikTok. We got the Mythical Pods TikTok. Check that out. Yeah. I think that's it. I think I did. That's all the things. Check them off. Yeah, we got the TikTok. We got the...
All the things.
Yeah, I said all the things. I think that's good. I think we can be done. The end. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to do the end again. I already did that bit. That was like 8 weeks ago. How should I end this one? I will end this one with a piece of advice. Don't ever buy one-ply toilet paper. That feels so awful. And if you... I don't know what it is. I had to use one-ply toilet paper recently. That was the worst thing ever. It's not good on the butt.
No.
Anyway, see y'all next time.